Hello, and welcome to my Gothic Grotto. I'm Thorn, I use he, him, his, and this is episode 2 of the Midnight Ballroom podcast. Hopefully that's long enough. Once again, I don't know if I timed the intro right in my head, because obviously I add the intro music in post. I did time it correctly last time, so let's hope I just know. Because it's a song I wrote, but I don't always sing things at the same tempo or play them all the time. So anyway, thank you for tuning in again, and also last week, well, I heard something in the other room. Hopefully it didn't get picked up on the mic, but if so, I'll just repeat what I said. So thank you so much for tuning in last week. I'm thinking about the nature of time for me and the person viewing, because I filmed that on the new moon on January 31st, the Monday before the Sunday that I uploaded it, because it took so long. And I'll tell more about what was the saga of my tech woes and learning curve, I guess, in a minute. But anyway, thank you for watching then and now. And I've had so much good feedback, especially from friends, and I'm just really happy to hear that my podcast is reaching people in the way it's meant to, like as a chill space where you can just sort of craft or hang out and listen to me ramble at you. Like, yeah, I'm really happy about that, because this has been something I've wanted to do for a while, and it's taken a while to get there. So, oh right, I also had 2 different people thank me for not editing out my stuttering, which I do have a stutter, as I said last time, and that means a lot to me. I didn't really have anything like that in terms of representation until The King's Speech, which is a great movie. So when I was growing up, I just there wasn't a lot of pottering. There was lots of pottering, but that's a different series of books and films and whatnot. But there wasn't a lot of positive representation of stuttering, and so I didn't really feel like it had, like I could have dignity as a person who stuttered until I saw The King's Speech, and that was life-changing. So yeah, I'm glad I can be that representation for other people, those who watch me at least. That's kind of my goal in life, whether it's stuttering or being openly trans or openly pagan, especially open about being a god spouse, which is, as I said before, it's kind of like it's a sacred marriage to a deity or a spirit, and it doesn't just happen in modern pagan circles, but it is, that's the term we use in modern pagan circles, god spouse, and it's kind of, for me at least, it's kind of like being a nun, except gay and pagan. and not necessarily celibate in either spiritual or physical realms. I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, so yeah, being open is important to me. Right, the saga of my tech woes. So last time, as you will have seen, my entire last video file got corrupted. Luckily, I still had the audio from Audacity. So I'm recording through this on my computer. My mic, which is connected to the Audacity file that's running. Then for video, since my webcam sucks, I'm using my phone. And I don't know what happened because there was still space on the SD card even after all of that video, but the last file just went, nope, I'm done. We're out. So long. I'm done with this world. And luckily I was able to get everything I needed off of my SD card, but I tried to unmount it and the tray wouldn't eject, like the SD card ejecting tray, and also I didn't have the right size of screwdriver to unscrew the whole thing. So I thought, well, I may as well remount it for right now, because at that point it wasn't corrupted, only that file was, and the whole SD card had something called write protection. And I thought, oh, that's weird. It won't let me delete things, because I was trying to delete the video files since they're kind of long, and I had them on my laptop now, and I didn't want to have them taking up space on my phone. So I remounted my SD card, and then it said, oh, now the entire thing's corrupted, probably because of that one file. It was just like, oh no, weird. We can't deal with this. And luckily the rest of the phone works, but I was due for an upgrade, so thankfully my parents helped me with that. And I'm still recording on the old phone right now because I want to test out the camera and all of the new one. And I will be keeping an eye on the time and stopping at each clip at half an hour, so that hopefully that will head off. I'm not sure what happened last time, but I did have the phone camera running for 45 minutes, and then another time after that, which was probably over half an hour. I think total filming was not much more than what you would have seen, so like an hour, 20 minutes. But I guess my phone wasn't able to handle that. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed. And then let's see what happened next. So thankfully my family helps me upgrade my phone, and I am very grateful that they're able to do that, but it's also kind of a rough situation because I'm in, as I mentioned last time, like I'm in a situation where I kind of have to have help from people who don't don't accept every part of me, so that's hard. I don't want to go into it too much, but it's there are reasons why I'm looking to move out soon. But anyway, I am glad that I have a new phone so that I'll be better prepared when I am out on my own. And I get a new pop socket too, so that's fun. This time it's Galaxy themed, because apparently I'm all about Galaxy theming now. I say now, but like it's really it feels like it's going back to an old love of mine, space. So so then in the editing process, I did learn a lot, as I said last time. I had to change programs and redo some of the work I had done, because the first one I was using, which I'd been using for a while, but I guess it just wasn't equipped to handle the longer files. That was OpenShot Video, the editor, and it kept freezing on me, so I changed to the free version of DaVinci Resolve and looked up some tutorials, and after that I felt like I had a good basic the understanding of what I would need to use the program for. I'm sure there's lots more to learn, but and it's nice because I can see that there is a lot of room to grow with this program, so I can increase my skills as a video editor, and it'll probably help in editing my music too, because I am in the middle of I'm about to put out a new album, as I mentioned last time, and I've actually recorded 2 of my songs this week, yesterday and today, which is always a bit nerve-wracking, so I'm very happy that it went well. And I'm trying not to do too much in the like post-recording the editing process, because I will definitely get overwhelmed. I don't really know what to do yet. So I'm just going to try and do the basics and give myself some grace, because I'm not a machine, and I'm also not in a professional studio with all these people who have been doing this for years. It's just me, and I have the tech that I have. So, but still, I kind of like that. It gives that kind of raw, immediate sound, which I've had good feedback on too. So, so yeah, it went pretty well with when I actually edited the video in Resolve, and then I exported it, and that took quite a while. And I had been going to just export it because I wanted to watch through the video to make sure that everything was okay. I knew that the audio was lining up, and I'm so happy that I've learned more tips and tricks about how to do that, because that's such an important skill, and it can be very difficult to line up audio. So so I noticed that the video preview was lagging, so I thought, well, maybe if I just export it as a video, then it will be easier to watch and see what's actually happening. But it took so long to export, maybe just because of my computer or something, that I was like, well, I really hope there's nothing wrong, because it's going to have to be something big for me to go back and fix it. And There was one thing, but it wasn't that big. I had meant to put dancing for the intro in the intro section, like right before the title, and for some reason it just disappeared. I'm not sure if you can hear. Someone came down the stairs, but so I did put it in, but then it vanished. I'm gonna have to ask my friend who also uses Resolve what may have happened there. So then I uploaded it to my YouTube channel, and it took all day. I was very happy when it finished. I think it's just because our internet's not very good here. and then when it did finish, it told me that processing had been abandoned because the video was too long. And I went, that's weird. I've seen videos longer than 15 minutes, which was the limit they were giving me. Is it because my channel's new? Because this is on the podcast channel, obviously. And it was, but not for the reason I was thinking. Like, I just hadn't verified with my phone my YouTube channel. And I would have done it if they told me that I needed to. It's such an easy process. So I did that, and I restarted the upload process. And it took another 12 hours. And I was very nervous when it was like at 100%, and it was like, it was telling me processing will begin shortly. And I was like, yes, me too. I'm also waiting to process this situation until you tell me that it's okay. And it was, thankfully. And after that, I was like, okay, I'm not going to worry about the subtitles until, like, for at least a day. I hope that YouTube will do the auto caption thing so I can edit those, even if they'll probably be full of mistakes. And so this morning, it's Monday evening, the day after I published the first one. I looked at the auto the auto captions, and I was actually really surprised by how accurate they were. I don't know if that's because I talk more slowly because I stutter or what, but that was certainly a nice surprise. And it's like that prequel meme, a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. And sorry, it's one of those moments where your mind goes blank and you're like, what am I doing next? I do have show notes, but they're not as detailed this time. So I'm like, okay, I did the big thing. I'm fine. So yeah, this morning, or this afternoon, and even like for several small bits of time today, I have been editing the closed captions, and now I'm more than halfway done, like through my first video. So at like over 45 minutes now. And I'm very happy that it's going so fast, because it's important to me to make things as accessible as possible, and I was worried this would take a long time and be hard. And now it is time for coffee break. This is a different mug. It's a very big, tall mug that has kind of a blue blur on it. Like it's a blue glaze, but it kind of blurs out to white at the edges, and there's a white silhouette of a moose on it. And I think I got it from a thrift store. Yeah, I did. And it makes me think of Gwen, of course, my patron god, because what doesn't make me think of Gwen in my life? And I also like to look at this mug and I think misquote a Tumblr post, but I don't really care because it's funny. And the quote is, head empty giant moose. I'm sure you can see why. This is my mysterious mist moose, which is also, I think, what I should call Gwen. It would be a great epithet and or term of endearment. Endearment. He's a deer god sometimes, so. Lots of deer puns. Oh, and I'm drinking coffee with creamer. Not Death Wish this time, but it is bean coffee, like whole bean that I ground in a French press, because that's my favorite type, favorite way to have it. And I like to have something special for podcast nights. Okay, cool. That was the tech saga. I do have my ring light on this time. I'm proud of myself for remembering that. Sorry about that. I got the maximum file size warning again, and it happened last time after 45 minutes of filming, and this time it was 22 or something. Well, 20 something. So I don't know, man. Definitely switching to my new phone after this. But we're just gonna continue on for this one. Right, so I was thinking about my keywords, and I realized they kind of naturally fall into two categories, for me at least, because spooky and queer are just the way in which I do everything. That's just me. So that's kind of the how, and then the other two are the what. Witchy and crafty. Like I can share something witchy and something crafty every podcast, and that kind of keeps me in those two worlds, which I want to be part of, both like fiber YouTube and pagan YouTube at the same time. Head empty, so clearly it's time for Giant Moose. This coffee is pretty good. I think it's just from Target. I forget what brand, sorry. But speaking of crafty, before I update you with my crochet whips, which is always fun, whip, of course, being work in progress. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but FO is finished object, so that's some jargon to learn. So I mentioned last time that I have an Etsy shop called Thirst Pixels. It is not safe for work, but it's cross-stitch patterns, which you can download. And I realized I don't really know anyone in the embroidery section of YouTube. which it's apparently called floss tube, which is great, like embroidery floss. And I also don't do a lot of stitching from patterns myself. I do embroider, and I love it because you can draw pictures and embellish things in a really gothy and subtle way. Like I really like the look of, say, black fabric and then like a shiny black embroidery thread on top, and then like I'd probably embroider some roses and thorns because that's me. But I mostly freehand. I don't really stitch from patterns, even my own, which is kind of weird. I do have friends that do, and I've had good feedback from them when they've used my patterns, so I'm grateful for that. And I try really hard to make sure that they're as easy to read as possible. Like I have shapes as well as colors and the patterns in several different sizes. So, but I was just thinking, it's kind of weird. I'm so connected to crochet YouTube right now, but my store is more like in the floss community. I did want to show some of what I have embroidered, which are mainly I made 4 masks. So I'll just show them. This one says, "Oh boy," in the trans flag colors. Like the O is blue, the H is pink, the B is white, the next O is pink, and then the Y is blue, and it has a little trans pride symbol in pink, blue, and white. Oh, and the mask itself is black. All of them are black, but like they have embroidery on them. Similarly, sort of, this one has a rainbow heart, and it says he/him, and has a rose and little red X's all over the border, and the rose and the he/him are in red. This one is caught on the next one. Speaking of deer puns, this one says, "Oh dear Lord," spelled DEER, and it has a pair of antlers on either side, and all of the stitching is silver. And speaking of Gwen, my last one to show says, "Hail Gwen ap Neve," in pink and white, and it has a bunch of sparkles, because I wanted it to have the vibe of kind of like Hail Satan, but just really cute and fabulous. And Gwen has been associated with the devil in Wales. I don't always, like, I try to be careful about whether I'm associating him that way and take his lead on it, because it feels like something that has been kind of traumatic, or like a role he's been forced into that's not necessarily how he wants to be seen, but at least that's the impression I get. But it is really fun sometimes to just kind of go with it. Like, oh yeah, I'm a witch and I gave my soul to an old horned god on Halloween. And it's just really funny when you put it that way. Like, it was also sacred and beautiful and full of joy, but it's also just funny given when you come up against the norms of the sort of the dominant culture or the dominant Christian narrative. So now that we've seen my embroidery, so the interesting thing about my patterns, and the reason they're called thirst pixels, is because I actually started doing pixel art, and then I was like, this would be a pretty good, it'd be pretty easy to convert these into cross-stitch patterns. Or I think someone might have told me that, and I was like, yeah, I've always wanted to have an Etsy shop with creative things. I could definitely do that. It took a lot of work, but I'm very happy I did it. I actually started doing the pixel art because of this one nonogram website, nonograms.org, and my page of puzzles is now in my link tree. And because it has the same art as my Thirst Pixels shop, it's also not safe for work. But on that site, they do allow you to have 18 plus puzzles, and I think all of the puzzles are users submitted. And I was very curious the first time I saw a puzzle with the 18 plus label, and I was like, wait, what is this? And it was basically just like a cute pinup picture, kind of. And so I was like, oh, cool. This is a fun genre of puzzle. I'll just do these until I run out. And then I ran out, and I was like, damn it, I have to start making them now. So I did. And I had so much fun making them, and I still do. I'm not actively in an art phase right now because I have other things going on, but I will definitely get back to it. So that's where Thirst Pixels started. And then I realized, hey, there's lots of different ways to use colors in pixel art, because that's basically how you have to design a nonogram puzzle, because each square is one color. So I could just experiment with different colors, and you know where there's a wealth of different colors and various combinations that are very meaningful to different people? All of the pride flags. So that's why I started doing pride flag themed or colored designs. So that's also been fun. I would like to do more pride flags, definitely. If there's one that you want, just let me know. And right, now we get to crochet. To the crochet. Yes, that's fun. Update on my cardie that is based on the Granny Square cardie by Kayla from Alt Knots. And well, construction of it is based on her pattern. I designed my own square and added a few things to the pattern, but I wouldn't have known how to make a cardigan out of granny squares if not for her, so cheers. Anyway, it's coming along. I finished the sleeves. I added these cool shoulder insets, which was on purpose to make the sleeve holes more, the armholes, bigger, because I don't like them to be tight. And I crocheted this directly into the hole, which was a bit difficult, but it's kind of based on the center of the square, like kind of a fan design in red. And I added the border around which is also like a red puff stitch around the neck and the front. I'm still working on the bottom border and this sleeve border. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. But yeah, it's a granny square cardi with black and red granny squares. I think it's all in Karen's Simply Soft yarn. And I used a 5.5 hook. I'll just keep this on. Like, there is an active loop somewhere, but the nice thing about crochet is that you can pick up stitches really easily. I'm not going to be walking around while I wear it yet. Apologies if you can hear people going up and down the stairs. I film late at night so that the commotion has died down, but I miscalculated, it seems like, so sorry about that. Right, I got out a really old finished object, a scarf I made a couple years ago. It's in this really soft, muted rainbow, kind of. And it's in kind of a fan stitch. I forget exactly what, like, I don't know what the pattern of the yarn is now, but I think I made it around Pride. It's a very short shawl, so I basically have to wear it like tying it at my neck. Yeah, that's fine. I don't wear scarves. I don't wear scarves that often, but I do like this one. The only thing is it kind of reminds me of the place where I crocheted it, which is my house where I lived with my ex, who I had to leave for reasons of safety and stuff. I'm not going to go into that, but I mentioned it last time. I do still love the scarf, and it's one of those things that I want to reclaim from that time in my life. Other whips, right. I haven't done anything on the Halloween lace vest, soon to be cardigan that I showed last time. But I do have many other whips. I actually just chose 2 last time because I didn't want to go overboard. This is an amigurumi I'm working on. She is a snek, meaning snake, serpent, and she's in black yarn with black sparkly yarn with a red X going up her back. Well, I say her back. It kind of spirals all over. Like, I don't know why. the X migrates in a spiral, and I feel like I'm supposed to just leave it like that because it has some kind of ancient sacred meaning, because the snek reminds me a lot of Gwyn's mother, or who I know as the goddess Anrina. Like, she's, well, one of his mother goddesses that I know in my personal experience. She's a goddess recovered from gnosis, or by gnosis, through the work of a couple of devotee friends of mine. So she has a gold button eye and a red button eye. Those are just the buttons that call to me. And she's not quite done, but I'm hoping that she's gonna get long enough to, like, wear as a scarf. I said I didn't wear scarves, but I would wear a snek scarf. oh my goodness. Would I ever? A snek scarf based on the great serpent mother of my patron god? Yes. I think the last whip I have, sorry, I wasn't sure if it would pick me up. It might have, this is a good microphone, but still, is one that I started. It's a commission for a friend. I think this is in Lion Brand Basic Stitch Anti-Pill. Sorry for the crinkling. I was right. So, in teal, or whatever this color is, and black. I'm starting on the black portion because that's what my friend wants on the lower portion, which is what you start with. And it's the same shawl as I showed last time for Gwen, the skull shawl. So here we have a triangle shawl beginning with the first skull in black yarn. It's exciting. And it's kind of fun that the last shawl I made from this pattern, it's the same one, the one, and I think the language is Finnish. I could actually just look it up right now. I don't know the name of the pattern, but the blog's name is Kungen no Majkis. Apologies if I'm saying that wrong. So, yeah, I'll link it again. So, I'm excited that I'm doing this commission for a friend, because it's for a different death god that she's close to. So mine was for my patron god who's a death god, and hers is for none other than Hades, which is exciting. And shout out to Hades. He is such a chill god. I mean, this is Gnosis, like personal experience, obviously, but like, he's helped me and many of my friends so much, and taught us to budget and set boundaries, and just lots of really awesome inner work. Oh, I got a closer look at the thing that came up, the message, and what it actually said was maximum file size reached. Video will continue in a new file. And I did notice that every file was about 22 minutes, even though I hadn't stopped the video at that time. And now that I've learned that, I'm, switching to a new phone, so don't know if it's useful, but that's cool. Gonna put my Hades shawl back. Do you ever get a chill when you mention a pagan god? No, just me? Okay. You would think it would normally happen with Gwyn, because he can be quite otherworldly and alarming, but also, and he is like that even for me sometimes, but also like I know him so well now because he's just part of my daily life that he's like this Cardi basically, just very like just wrap myself up in him. Coffee break. One more thing to show. You might have noticed that my sheep is missing from the background. That the handsome young man back there, the doll with the black hair, is her boyfriend, actually. But the sheep, whose name is Annabelle Lee, decided to join us on camera. Here she is, in her pink bonnet with the little rainbow ribbon. No, it's a red bonnet, sorry, with a black ribbon through the top and then like a rainbow ribbon on the side and a pink capelet with the white ribbon. Both of these are things I crocheted for her. And you would think that I've had her for like as long as I've been alive, but actually she came into my life about 10 years ago, and I just took a liking to her. My sister found her at a thrift store, and I was like, this sheep just looks so happy. I just need her in my life. She has this little smile, like, yay. Oh, right, she comes with a, I don't know what this pattern is, kind of plaid red and white ribbon around her neck, so that is her constant accessory, and then she has other accessories that I've made for her. I used to carry her around all the time when I was at college, or university for those outside the US. And I would go to coffee shops with her, and I was like, I want to share my coffee with her, but I don't want people to think I'm weird or feeding an actual animal. So I would just like very stealthily bring my coffee cup to her mouth, and she'd just, taste some, and then I would I would straighten back up like, no, I didn't just have a tea party with a stuffed animal, no. But I don't, I want to be in spaces where I don't feel ashamed of that. Like, it's awesome. And the other stuffy friend that I will share with you, I have several, like I have a whole herd, but my little completely circular alpaca pillow, who is lime green, his name is Lime, and he is my elbow rest when I'm crocheting now, when I feel like I need one. I kind of felt like he volunteered himself, because he was like, oh, you're having shoulder pain, elbow pain. You should, now that you have ergonomic hooks, you should use something like me. I'm not really joking when I say volunteered himself. I'm like, from the perspective of a spirit worker and an animist, I kind of feel like I kind of interact with my plushies as like beings. I kind of believe that about dolls in general, or like all matter really. But yeah, I'm not really sure how to elaborate on that. But them being in my life makes it better, so we'll just leave it at that. Coffee break. Also water break. I was trying to see if I could get away with not drinking water just with my coffee, but I realized no. My mouth is still dry. So, right, I promised a tarot deck unboxing, and I actually have 2 of them. This one is the Cthulhu Vault deck. Cthulhu's Vault, yeah. It was a solstice gift from a friend. So thank you, friend, if you're watching. Have the little white book. Ooh, they have little symbols at the bottom of the page. I don't know what those mean, but it looks like something that you might find in the Necronomicon. Also, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to describe every card, because I feel like I would get overwhelmed, and it might take a while, so I apologize if not. Whoa. I do like that they have this shiny silver foil on the edge of the cards, and a very nice back, which is gray with the Cthulhu outline in black. Looks like we have coins instead of pentacles. Here's the Fool card. Ooh, here's the 8 of coins, I think. It's a spooky gothic mansion. That's nice. The 10 of Cups is also a spooky house. I love it. Queen of Cups is a pretty lady drawn entirely in blue and black. Magician. Ooh, one of my beloved men with long hair reaching towards you with tentacles in the background. That's a mood. Well, I'm excited to look up more about this. I mean, to look into this more and use it. Very happy that I finally opened it and like got the ball rolling, because when I have new things, sometimes I'm like, I have to have energy to be properly excited about them, because I do love them. But if I'm not having a good day, then like I can't waste it on this wonderful new thing, which is, you know, probably not a very healthy thing to think, but it's a thing. Second tarot. This is one I bought myself. It's the Mermaid Tarot, and I love that, as you can see from the cover and also from other things I've seen in I've seen some of the cards online. It seems like a very diverse mermaid deck, which is awesome. So on the cover we have a dark-skinned mermaid blowing a conch shell, I think. Right. I made sure I had my scissors because I knew this one was still shrink wrapped. I'll try to put these, both of these decks in the show notes as well. And sorry for the crinkling. Just doing it fast so we could just rip off the crinkling band-aid in case it bothers anyone. So, right. Ooh, it opens like this, has a fancy cover. Oh, I immediately know what card this is, which is amazing because it's in the Minor Arcana and I'm still learning those. 3 mermaids, varying ethnicities, which is awesome, and they're around a central podium with a teapot, and they're each holding teacups, so 3 of cups. Not just because of the three cups, but also because I know the 3 of cups is supposed to be like 3 friends celebrating kind of thing. The inside of the book, the cover is not only yellow, but there's a tiny scale pattern, like a mermaid scales. That's awesome. And yes, there is a tiny fish underneath where the cards were. I don't know what kind of fish it is. Like, I live in a gothic grotto, which sounds like someplace a mermaid would be, and I do kind of identify as a mermaid. Yes, I'm a guy, but still. But I don't know much about fish. The other thing I like about the name Gothic Grotto is it sounds like it could be where a witch or a fairy lives, and I also identify as those things. Sorry. The cards are shrink wrapped. So we have a spiral kelp underwater golden ball type of pattern on the back. And I love it. It reminds me of Inanna slash Terrasia, a goddess I know as the Sun Mother, or like Gwyn's mother in the Minoan side of my path. And I love things that make me think of her. High Priestess. Look at this gothic beauty under the moon with her magic. Gender goals. Even though I'm a guy, still gender goals. Speaking of people that remind me of the goddess I mentioned, so she for me at least, seems like she always appears as a dark-skinned woman and is associated with the color blue. So you can see why this one makes me think of her. Dark-skinned mermaid dressed in blue. It's the Empress card. And sorry, it's kind of blurry. Well, it's a pretty card. Plus, like, that connection with the sun and the sky reminds me of Inanna / Terracia. Trying to see if there's another one that would be nice to show. Ooh, the star. We have some space theming in the sky, and the mermaid from the cover of the box blowing a shell underneath the star. I love that. Oh, so far we've had the moon, the sun, and the star in a card. I don't think it was those specific major arcana, but still, that's fun. We're going to include some mermen, because not only am I a trans guy, I'm also gay, and I do like that they included some very handsome mermen. This is a dude fire dancing. It looks like he has an audience, as well he should. I'm sure his fire dancing is worth the spectacle, but also he's very handsome. And this is the Six of Wands. As you might imagine from the 6 glowing sticks. Wands. And the guide, the so-called little white book, is neither little nor white. It is big and blue. And it looks amazing. I'm also really happy that I have another mermaid deck, because one of my first, well, it was an oracle deck, but it was a mermaid oracle, and I felt like it was kind of like cis focused. Like, it may be a little bit uncomfortable as a trans person, and like kind of the woman power, but it's tied to your body, and the very new agey that didn't really seem like it had a lot of room for more complicated emotions, like complicated and more difficult stuff, which I feel like I need in a deck. I'm trying not to like bash it too much, and I'm not going to say which deck it was, but I decided to let that one go. So I'm happy that I have this one. So yeah, let me check my show notes. Woo! I think that's all. So like, congrats. We've made it through another Midnight Ballroom podcast. Cheers to us. I think I'm gonna let you guys go. Because as I mentioned last time, it's after 11 here, and I'm in Pacific time, and this is the only time I can film, really, because I live in a full house and don't really have soundproofing over my Gothic grotto. I did try with some like fabric behind here just to dampen things, but yeah, I'm looking forward. I can't remember if I said this, but like I'm looking forward to being able to do lives maybe when I'm in my new place, whenever that is, because I just love being part of those as an audience member. And I'd love to kind of build that type of community where people feel like they can reach out to me, and because I want to be down to earth and approachable, and sorry, there was something else. What was it? Oh yeah, so the sad thing is, if I did lives now, people on my, like, in my time zone are probably mostly in bed by now, and people anywhere else, like almost anywhere else in the world that I have friends, either eastward in the US or like in the UK and Europe, are in even later time zones. So I would probably have to do them mid-morning my time, which seems to work for more people. And I do that with my Zoom chats that I'm part of, but for lives I think we'll have to wait till I'm just like in a better space. Thank you again for hanging out with me, and once again we're getting the maximum file size warning, so this will be a really short clip, but you probably won't notice because I'm going to edit it. I will notice, but that's okay. I look forward to learning more about how to edit things, and this is turning into a Midwestern goodbye. I'm not sure if I can say that because I'm not from the Midwest, but I know that like I have lots of Southern relatives and roots, and it's also a Southern goodbye. So, see y'all later. I hope you have a good night or day, and let's dance again at the next midnight.